Hey guys, it's Jordan here with Koda's Canine Academy, and what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was what it means to be a truly balanced dog trainer. In today's world, just like with politics, everybody thinks that as a dog trainer, you have to be something. You either have to be positive or you have to be balanced or you have to be compulsion, like that you have to pick a side and you have to run with it. And I absolutely hate it. I think that we're doing people and dogs an injustice all around the country, all around the globe. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. Why do I think it's absolutely ridiculous? Well, it's because regardless of what type of temperament you have, regardless of what your learning style is, it is impossible to learn without knowing the difference between right and wrong. If you never know the difference between right and wrong, it will be nearly impossible for you to learn anything about how to properly handle yourself and conduct yourself in daily life. If you have no concept of right or wrong, how on earth would you know what is and isn't acceptable behavior? With positive only and compulsion trainers, this is the number one problem that I see, okay? Positive only trainers, they pretty much are only going to tell the dog what is right. They're going to reward them for everything that that dog does correct, but there are no negative consequences for their actions. Therefore, the dog is not just getting rewarded for the things that it should be doing, but it's getting rewarded every single time it gets away with one of those self-rewarding behaviors that we have all come to know and hate, right? Whether it be jumping, chewing, digging, excessive barking, whatever. The longer that dog is allowed to do those things without any sort of consequence at all, the more they're going to do it and the more intense that behavior is going to get. So, positive reinforcement only trainers, they tend to do well with obedience. They tend to do well with like puppy manners, especially if the dog doesn't already have any bad habits. Outside of that, I see them struggle a lot because they are not willing to teach a dog consequences. On the flip side of that, are compulsion trainers who don't really care about teaching a dog what's right. They care about teaching a dog what is wrong. Okay. This means that every single time the dog doesn't do the right thing, they are going to be punished, whether it be yelling, an e-collar, other physical like touch. That dog is going to be punished if they do not make the right decision. But just like with positive only dogs, how on earth is that dog supposed to know that that is wrong if they've never been taught what is right? Okay? You cannot just keep issuing corrections and issuing corrections and issuing corrections to a dog whom you have never communicated what it is you actually want to. Otherwise, they're just going to get frustrated, they're going to get stressed out, and they're probably going to get shut down. You're going to end up with an emotionally detached dog that is just trying to avoid more corrections and more punishments. That's it. So, why we would want either one of those, I really don't understand. And it's ironic to me because both of those types of trainers are also the ones that are like thoroughly confused as to why we have so many dogs in shelters right now who don't have homes, when the reality is 90% of dogs that end up in shelters are because they have unresolved issues. They have unresolved behavioral issues in the house that the owner could not address for one reason or another, and they eventually had to get rid of the dog. Now, if you're a positive only trainer and you absolutely refuse to use consequences or teach the dog that there are consequences for their actions, how are you ever going to solve those behaviors? You can't just wait for a dog to offer a behavior that he doesn't even know he's supposed to be offering without first teaching them that that behavior is not okay. And the flip side goes for the compulsion trainers, right? How on earth are you expecting a dog to know what's right or know what it is you expect from them if you never teach them that? And you're just shocking them and shocking them and shocking them when they're not right on beat, okay? That is where balance training comes into place. And that is why being a balance trainer is so important. I think a lot of people when they hear the term balance trainer, they kind of think it's somebody saying like, oh yeah, like I love my dog and I reward them and stuff, but I'll also beat the shit out of them if they step out of line. So like balance, you know? No. Right? Like that's not what balance training is. Balance training is an understand of the ideology that like you can't have one without the other. What I mean by that is that you can't have right without wrong. You can't have wrong without right. You can't have discipline without direction. And um, you can't have structure without discipline. You can't. And discipline, again, discipline and consequences are not always bad. Neither are corrections. I think that there's way too many negative connotations with those words to where people think, I don't want to correct my dog, because in their mind, a correction is lighting them up, or a correction is beating them or yelling at them. That's not the case. A correction is us correcting their behavior in that moment. Okay? So, for example, let's say you have a dog who is chewing on a table leg, okay? A positive only trainer would not tell that dog that chewing on the table leg is wrong. They would simply do a toy replacement, go on about their day. So the dog hasn't learned that that is wrong. They've just learned that if they chew on that table, mom is going to come over and she's going to give me a treat or a toy or whatever. How on earth would you expect them to quit chewing on the table leg when they just found out that it will in fact get them a reward? A compulsion trainer would say, oh, I see you chewing on the table leg. I'm going to shock the shit out of you, and I'm not going to give you anything else to do. These are the dogs that have very unhealthy chewing habits, whether they're like hiding and sneaking and chewing on things that they shouldn't be, or maybe they just don't really hardly chew at all and their teeth are starting to like fall out and get really unhealthy. Chewing is a natural behavior. So balanced trainers would say, okay, I see my dog chewing on something that he shouldn't. I need to tell him, hey, I don't want you chewing on that. So I might say, or no, or whatever, maybe even just give him a quick like snap or break it up, interrupt the behavior, whatever. And then I'm going to redirect him to a toy and reward him for chewing on that. So now not only have I told him, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it when you chew on the table, but look at this. I have a toy for you that is perfectly fine for you to chew on, and I'm going to reward you for doing so. I have now taught the dog what is right and what's wrong simultaneously. And by all means, that would be considered a correction because I corrected his behavior in that moment. Was I mean? Was I physical? Did I punish him? No. I told him, hey, I don't like that. I do like this though. Here you go. Do that. And it's crazy to me that people think that that could be a negative thing. Another example would be like jumping, for example. Jumping, 99% of dogs do it for attention. They want your attention, okay? Positive only trainers would say, well, if a dog jumps on you and you remove your attention from them, which is what they're seeking, they will figure out, oh, she's going to turn around and not give me attention, so I should stop doing this. Obviously, she doesn't like it. Now, if you've never told your dog, I don't like it, and you just turn around and allow them to keep jumping and jumping and jumping and jumping, A, you're probably going to get hurt. B, it's probably going to take a while for that dog to figure it out, especially if they're really high energy or really excitable or whatever. And C, what if they never stop? What if you never get the opportunity to reward them for stopping? Then what? Now they've just got to jump all over you incessantly when you walked in the door, and then what? Maybe they got distracted and ran off. No training occurred there. Your dog was just allowed to jump all over you in a very uncomfortable way. Then with like compulsion training, if a dog is super excited to see you and they come and run up and you're immediately punishing them, they're going to be like, well, shit, I don't want to go see mom anymore. I don't want to go say hello to her anymore. I don't want that attention, period, because it's going to be bad attention. So now you have one dog that thinks he can do whatever he wants whenever he wants, and you have another dog that doesn't want anything to do with you. Balance training says, I don't like it when you jump on me, so I'm going to tell you that. hey, no, stop. And then guess what? Oh, you kept all 4 feet on the ground? Good boy. Here's my love. Here it all is. What we're teaching them with balance training is that you don't have to do that jumping. You don't have to do that barking. You don't have to do that. You can still get what you want by offering me a nice behavior that I like. It's the difference between right and wrong. Anytime a training method or philosophy does not perpetrate you communicating to the dog not only what's wrong or right, but the opposite, it's not going to be very effective. Okay? I want you to think about it like a little kid, for example. Let's say a little kid goes and he steals a toy from his sister, and his little sister responds by like saying, "No, that's mine," and then he punches her in the face. Right? Holy smokes. As a parent, what like how are you going to respond there? If we're going on the philosophy of dog training, there are 3 ways. A would be, if we're going by strictly off a positive reinforcement, we're not going to punish him. We're not going to tell him that it wasn't okay to punch his little sister in the face. Rather, what we're going to do is take that toy away from him. Go on about our day. Because in a positive trainer's mind, he punched his sister because he wanted that toy. So if we take the toy away, he's never going to punch his sister again. What? No. All you did was piss him off even more. Now he's mad that you took his toy away, and he probably blames his little sister for crying because he punched her. So if you think that he isn't going to escalate, or that it's not going to turn into a, "I can't believe you tattled on me," or like, "I can't believe you're crying," like, you obviously don't understand children or dogs very well, but that's what happens, right? Now, compulsion training would say, if he were to punch her in the face and then you just punch him square back in the face, lay him out. And now he has learned, okay, if I hit somebody, I'm going to get hit back way harder. Did he learn that hitting was wrong? Yeah, kind of. I mean, kind of, because he was aggressive and then you were more aggressive and hit him harder. So one of 2 things is either going to happen. Either A, he's going to be like, "Oh, okay, I can't do that. Otherwise, I'm going to get the shit beat out of me," which, as we know with kids, always creates more emotional problems later. So why people think that wouldn't apply to our dogs, I don't know, but it always creates emotional problems later if parents respond to violence with violence. It's no different with our dogs, okay? The other thing that he might figure out is that now he has to be sneakier about it because he's going to be punished. So, do you think he might still go steal that toy? Yeah. Do you think he's going to try and do it when his sister isn't around and can't get upset? Yeah. Do you think he's going to try to, get away with it now? Yeah. He's going to. He's going to try and do it behind your back. So, in both of those situations, we haven't really taught him what was right or what was wrong or why he's being reprimanded for either one of those things. Whereas if it's a balanced parent, they're going to say, are they going to take the toy away? Yeah, probably, because that's what he wanted in the first place. And we need to teach him that punching your sister is not how it's going to get what you want. Or we might not take the toy away. We might sit them down and make them communicate about it. Like, okay, like, you weren't playing with this toy, so why were you so upset that he took it in the first place? Oh, it's because you're having problems with sharing? Well, remember, sharing is caring. We want to share with our brother. Now, why did you feel the need to steal that toy from your sister? Don't you have a very similar one in your room? Why can't you play with your own toy? Why did you have to steal your sister's? Why didn't you just ask her if you can play with it? Maybe he says, "I did ask her and she said no." Well, that's her right? So a balanced parent is going to take the time to understand that neither one of those children might have responded in the correct way, and that there is a slew of right and wrong in there that needs to be addressed and picked apart. That's what balanced dog training is all about. It's not a black and white, like, hey, I'm going to completely ignore this until you do something and reward you for that. And then you'll know that just that positive behavior is what I want. Or, oh, I'm going to abuse you while you're doing the bad things. So then you'll know that I don't want you to ever do any of those bad things again. With either one of those, we didn't teach them what was right or what was wrong. We picked one and we were like, well, figure it out. Balance training is about communicating. It's about finding that balance between what's right and what's wrong and figuring out how we can communicate that to our dogs. That way, we're taking all the guesswork out of it for them. We're saying, yeah, I don't like that, but I do like that. Don't like that, love that. Love that, don't like that. We are doing that for our dog. We're taking all the question out of it. We're not letting them struggle and trying to figure it out. We're not letting them just get punished again and again and again without giving them any direction. We are telling them exactly the difference between right and wrong, and we are rewarding them and or correcting them in the process. Okay? So, remember, corrections, tools, not always bad. However, what is bad is allowing your dog to struggle or be confused or be stressed out because you refuse to communicate both sides of what is right and wrong to them in a way that they will understand. Yeah. So if you have any questions about balance training, let me know. And if you need any help with anything, obviously let me know. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.